going to start a new chapter book read aloud. I'm going to read one chapter per video. This is called Nim's Island, and it's by Wendy Orr. And the first thing I do when I go to read a chapter book is I read the back so that I kind of have an idea about what is going to happen. So I'm going to read the back to you. It says, a girl, an iguana, an island, and email. Meet Nim, a modern-day Robinson Crusoe. She can chop down bananas with a machete, climb tall palm trees, and start a fire with a piece of glass. So she's not afraid when her scientist dad sails off to study plankton for 3 days, leaving her alone on their island. Besides, it's not as if no one's looking after her. She's got a sea lion to mother her, and an iguana for comic relief. She also has an interesting new email pal. But when her father's cell phone calls stop coming and disaster seems near, Nim has to be stronger and braver than she's ever been before. And she'll need all of her friends to help her. This is one of my favorites. Chapter 1. Here's Nim. In a palm tree on an island in the middle of the wide blue sea was a girl. Nim's hair was wild, her eyes were bright, and around her neck she wore 3 cords. One was for a spyglass, one for a whirly whistling shell, and one for a fat red pocket knife in a sheath. With the spyglass at her eye, she watched her father's boat. It sailed out through the reef to the deeper, dark ocean, and Jack turned to wave, and Nim waved back, though she knew he couldn't see. Then the white sails caught the wind and blew him out of sight, and Nim was alone. For 3 days and 3 nights, whatever happened or needed doing, Nim would do it. And what we need first, said Nim, is breakfast. So she threw 4 ripe coconuts, thump, into the sand and climbed down after them. Then she whistled her shell 2 long, shrill notes that carried far out to the reef where the sea lions were fishing. Selkie popped her head above the water. She had a fish in her mouth, but she swallowed it fast and dived toward the beach. And from a rock by the hut, Fred came scuttling. Fred was an iguana, spiky as a dragon, with a cheerful snub nose. He twined around Nim's feet in a prickly hug. Are you saying good morning? Nim demanded. Or just begging for breakfast? Fred stared at the coconuts. He was a very honest iguana. Coconuts are tricky to open, but Nim was an expert. With a rock and a spike, she punched a hole and drank the juice, cracked the shell, and pried out the flesh. Fred snatched his piece and gulped it down. Marine iguanas don't eat coconut, but no one had ever told Fred. Now Selkie was flopping up the beach to greet them. We'll come in too, Nim shouted, and dived off the rocks. Selkie twisted and shot up underneath, gliding Nim through the waves, thumping over and ducking under. Nim held on tight till she was half sea lion and half girl, and all of her was part ocean. Then Selkie and Fred went to sunbake on the rock, and Nim went back to the hut. She poured a mug of water from her favorite blue bottle, brushed her teeth above a clump of grass that needed the spit, and started her chores. There were lots today because she was doing some of Jack's as well as her own. Long ago, when Nim was a baby, she'd had a mother as well as Jack, but one day her mother had gone to investigate the contents of a blue whale's stomach. It was an interesting experiment that no one had done for thousands of years, and Jack said that it would have been all right. It should have been safe until the Tropo tourists came to make a film of it, shouting and racing their huge pink and purple boat around Nim's mother and the whale. When Jack told them to stop, they made rude signs and bumped their boat against the whale's nose. The whale panicked and dived, so deep that no one ever knew where or when it came back up again. Nim's mother never came back up at all. So Jack packed up his baby into his boat and sailed round and round the world, just in case Nim's mother came back up out of the ocean somewhere else and didn't know where to find them. Then one day, when the baby had grown into a very little girl, he'd found this island. It was the most beautiful island in the whole wide world. Here's the island. I made a map of it. It had white shell beaches, pale gold sand, and tumbled black rocks where the spray threw rainbows into the sky. It had a fiery mountain with green rainforest on the high slopes and grasslands at the bottom. There was a pool of fresh water to drink and a waterfall to slide down. And in a hidden hollow where the grasslands met the white shell beach, there was a place for a hut. And around it all, so that only the smallest boats could weave their way through, was a maze of reef, curving from the black rocks on one side to the white cliffs on the other. Jack sailed back to the city for the very last time. He filled up the boat with plants for a garden and supplies for science, and he landed on the island to build a home for just him and his daughter. Because he knew now that Nim's mother had stayed down at the bottom of the sea. Like a mermaid, Nim thought. He built a hut of driftwood logs and good strong branches, with a palm-thatched roof and a hard dirt floor. He put up a satellite dish and a solar panel to charge the batteries for a flashlight, a cell phone, and a laptop computer. He made sleeping mats stuffed with rustling palm fronds, a table and 2 stools, a desk, bookcases, and shelves for his science stuff, coconut shell bowls, and seashell plates. He dug a vegetable garden in the rich soil at Fire Mountain's base and planted avocados, bananas, lettuce, oranges, pineapples, strawberries, sweet potatoes, and tomatoes, and bamboo for making pipes and useful things. And then he went on being a scientist, and when Nim got older, she helped him. They read what the barometer said, measured how much rain fell every day, how strong the winds were, how high the high tides reached, and how low the low tides fell. And then they marked the measurements on a clean white chart with a blue marker. They studied the plants that grew on the island and the animals that lived there. They put blue bands on the birds' legs and wrote down the numbers so that Jack could remember the birds' birthdays and who their mothers and fathers were. Nim remembered anyway. Sometimes Jack wrote articles about the weather and the plants and animals and emailed them to science magazines and universities.